management.
Welcome. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the RFD Talk. I am your host and producer, Robin F. David. I am a healing consultant, author, and I am the president of the Golden Foundation. I am super excited this week. We are here at the mighty 147 Nashville's Heritage Radio Station, and I'm so honored to be here today with you this evening. Happy Monday, beautiful people. So let's talk about the weekend. How was your weekend, everyone? I hope that everybody's weekend went well. We're at the top of the week. And I got some exciting news. We are super excited because we are thrilled to have my new co-host here with me. Woo woo. She's right over here. Takisha, we are so happy to have you and thrilled to have you here. But before we get into the new host and all the great stuff she's going to share with us, I definitely want to shout out our sponsors and tell them thank you. I want to say thank you to Shave Me Down, which is a handmade body butter, and you can find Shave Me Down. Excuse me, let me slow down because I get excited. I'm so thrilled that this is April and we're moving forward with a new co-host, and so honored to have her. So I definitely want to thank our Shave Me Down, with our sponsor who has been very consistent in supporting us here on the RFD Talk. So if you're looking for some really good homemade body butter, you definitely want to check them out. And then I want to thank our other sponsor is Majestic Elegance and Candles and Company, which is a soy-based candle, and you can find them on livemajestic.com. Excuse me, there's that website is livemajestic.com. And before we get into our topic today, my subject would be the Lord said to RFD. I said, what did the Lord say to RFD?
Okay, I have to hear this.
Yes, the Lord said to RFD, I am a wealth builder. And let me share with you what happens every week here, Takisha. We have a segment called The Lord Said to RFD. And what that means is I love words and I love affirmations and I love quotes and I love scriptures. So every week I always give us that is going to be our affirmation for this week. So when we're going through our life this week, I always tell our listeners and our viewers to remember, what did the Lord say to RFD? And he said that I am a wealth builder. And so that kind of ties into our segment. And I won't hold you guests no longer because I am just honored and thrilled that, first of all, I want to say welcome to the family of the WOL family. And if you haven't started tuning in every week here on WOL, we have Takisha coming with us every month, but we also have the lovely Charles Zeta Hall, which she's every Monday morning at 10 a.m. You want to tune in to us here. And she has her great co-host, Kanisha Patterson, and that show shows on Monday mornings here. And then we also have Hey Miss Judy, which she is every Wednesday at 10 o'clock, and with her amazing co-host, Amanda. And then we also have the Kim and Joe show, which is every Sunday.
So, amazing programming here.
Yes, Kim and Joe show is every Sunday. You want to tune into Kim. Hello to the Kim. Then we also have Lance J, which is the Lance J show. You want to tune into the Lance J show. I've been on his show and he's here with us as well. So I want to shout out him. Then and last but not least, we have We Battle. We Battle's on Friday nights. If you all into hip hop, We Battle's been here for a while and they're out in Nashville. They bring in the models and they bring in hip hop celebrities. So just want to shout out the family at WOL and we welcome you to being a part of our family here at WOL.
Super excited.
Yeah. So tell us about who you are and welcome to our team.
Oh, wow. So Takisha Bromell here. So I own a business called GirlFriday Business Solutions. We've been in business for 4 years and we're really experiencing a lot of growth and just a lot of things that are going on right now. Outside of that, I also have the TBE, which is Takisha Bromell Enterprises. And we're we're kind of more on the ministry side of things. So I call it where faith and values meet business. And so we kind of talk about those kind of things with my podcast and everything. But I'm super excited to be here because we've been talking about the CEO hustle and what that really means for businesses and everything. And so I'm kind of wanting to kind of chat with you and talk to you about that and and
Yeah,
everything.
yes. Tell me more about the CEO hustle, and
Mm,
congratulations to all the great things that you have going on. It sounds like
hmm
you have a lot of amazing things to share with us here on this platform. So we're excited to learn how
Yeah.
what all that means to be the CEO hustle. Tell us more about that.
Well, let me just say this. I think that we kind of I started that thought process as we were talking. So the two of us, were talking about how could we kind of meaningfully come together, talk through the different things that are going on in business. We had some great traction a couple of months ago when I first came on, and I thought that this would be a great conversation to just kind of it just open the door for conversation for people who are now found themselves like you maybe started a small business but never really thought that you're going to be a CEO of a business where you're going to start growing.
Yes.
There's one place where you have you're that person that's doing like a solopreneur. And then there's another part of it when you start to grow outside of being a solopreneur, start adding on team members, your social media people and your designers and all that kind of stuff. When you start adding
Yeah.
people onto your team, you move from a solopreneur to a CEO very quickly. And when I did, I I'm not sure that I was expecting my business to grow or not sure how I wanted my business to grow. But when it started growing and I started adding team members on, it was like, what did I just do? Do I have what I need in order to do it? Do I have the systems in place in order for it to work? How am I going to pay these people? Like you have all of these things and you start off with just with this idea to be a solopreneur, not knowing that you're starting to groom yourself into and grow into something that you have no idea what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. Right?
Yes.
We've had the conversation and you've talked about how when you started to kind of grow your team and started to get a virtual assistant and all those kind of things, how things changed.
Yes, they do. So when do you think you know you have a hobby? So you're taking your hobby. When do you feel like at a time for some of our listeners who are creating a new business or think about creating a new business, when do you think they should start seeking assistance?
Hmm. You know, okay, so there's a book called The E-Myth, and someone actually gave me that book before I started to get out there. Actually, before I started my business, and I read it, and I saw this woman who was. I'm not going to give you all of the nuggets. You're going to have to go and get the book yourself and read it. But she's struggling, and she has a business, and she finds herself in her passion. Like her passion is, I think, baking apple pies, and she finds it as a passion but she never understood or never had an inkling or an idea that she was going to jump into working with like having a team, but she needed a team. And as she was exhausted and tired. Can you imagine being in your passion? You're exhausted and you're tired from doing what you love to do. You start bringing on someone, or maybe not bringing on someone. You're just at that place where you can't do it yourself anymore. You can't be the baker, the accountant, the the person who's marketing. You just can't be it all. Um, it's sad to say that we get into a place where when we're doing business, that we find that when we're doing business that there are no how we get to a really frustrated place. It's sad that we get there, but we have to get to a place where we realize that in order for us to grow, in order for this business to move, that I have to get out of the way of it. I
Mm.
can't be everything. And we do have people out there that are good at a lot of things, but when you find yourself like your bandwidth starts to slow down, the things that you were wanting to do starts to slow down. You have to get out of your way. You have to get out of the business's way. You have to move out of the way and decide that you're going to now take it a step further and start to kind of like find fractional people that you don't have to work that doesn't have to work for you full time. but they
Okay.
can do certain things for you. So they can do it project based or hourly based, but finding someone that can help you with the things that are not maybe your best, or maybe the things that you should not be doing. So you have to kind of like look at your task and say, I'm not the best at this. I need to pass this on.
Mhm.
Or I just really need a professional to do this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, where would you tell them to start looking for these professionals? Will they call your solution based? Would Girlfriend
Hmm.
Solution be the company that you would recommend your place, or do you start with a solution based
Yeah.
company like yourself? Or definitely, I know your company can do this, but then what other ways would you say that other people may
Hmm.
find these
Okay.
steps to be easy
Hmm.
for them if they're not quite familiar which direction to go?
Okay. So I would just say first that you need to really write down your task.
Okay.
And as you write down your task, it will start to answer for you.
Okay.
Like there are some things that an assistant can do that maybe an executive assistant, that an executive assistant can do, that an assistant can do. So you're really sitting down and saying, okay, I need a professional for this,
Okay.
but I need a administrative assistant for this. I may need an intern for this. Like you're really sitting down and working through
Mm,
your like the tasks that you have.
okay.
You know what? My intern, if I had an intern, this intern could do this and at least get me to here. And then that information that intern could be researching or whatever is something that could then be passed on to someone else. So you're really kind of like sitting down and saying, task, I'm writing down my task. I'm going to make sure that I have these things in order. I'm going to look at this thing. I'm going to look at it properly. I'm going to see what type of person I need for each thing. And that's how you start to kind of like build your team. That's the first step
Mm,
of it. And
okay.
then you start to kind of like say, okay, so like if I need an intern, maybe I'll go to a college and find out someone that may be in school doing the very thing that I need them to do. And that may be an easier way.
Okay.
Okay, I may need an intern, or a virtual assistant. And so I'm going to go online and maybe look at a virtual assistant. Now we do executive assistant work, so it's not that it's a difference. Um, the virtual assistants are people that are. It's not that they're not, like they have tasks that they do and all of that kind of stuff. I think the reason why we kind of like differentiate ourselves from a virtual assistant is that we are working for like C-level, C-suite people, like a CEO, um, a new business owner, that type of thing. But you're still looking for someone that can get it done. I think that what we say and how we say that we're a little bit different is like we want to kind of not only take your task and do your task, but we want to put processes around your task so that as people come in, you're not doing the same thing over and like you're not doing something different every time someone comes in. You're kind of creating a normalcy around like when you get a client, what do you want that client to experience? What do you want that client to do? Like how do you want to actually be able to kind of like to create your customer journey or whatever. So we're just a little bit different. And then you have partners. You have people that could come in. So like I'm trying to give an example. Like okay, so let's say you are a company and you are doing like you're doing social media work. You may have a great designer on staff, but you may need someone that's really good at writing.
Mm,
So you may find a partner who's a writer, who has a company that's a writer, and you may partner with them for them to provide writing services for you, right?
okay. Yeah.
So instead of you actually hiring someone to do that, you go into partnership. Like we decided that we wanted to kind of connect,
Yes.
that it would be great for us to kind of like do this once a month and see what happens,
Yes.
to see if we could grow this into something or whatever,
Yes.
what would be advantageous for the both of us.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's like sometimes bringing in a partnership or someone that can partner with you.
Oh, I love it. I
Hmm.
love what you're saying to me because it makes it more simple in my mind to think of looking over the tasks. I think when
Hmm.
you have so many tasks in a business, sometimes it can be overwhelming to
Overwhelming.
think
Yes.
about all the things that goes along with your business,
Mm-hmm.
getting the marketing done, the
Mm-hmm.
branding part done, the
Mm-hmm.
graphic, like you said, the writing part.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, I got that now because I'm definitely working on redoing my website. So I was finding a content
Content
developer,
creators. Mm-hmm.
someone
Mm-hmm.
who does the graphic
And
part.
sometimes those are not equally. Those are not like sometimes we go into something thinking that we have to like hire like one person to do all of those things. Some people are just good at the actual writing of like the code to go to your website. And then there may be someone else that's great at design. I've met a lot of people that's in that kind of like genre of business, like social media, websites, and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes a website developer has a partner that is
Hmm.
someone who can think creative, create design, or think of nice designs, but they know how to code. They know how to
Oh.
code and create the website, but they may have someone that's connected to them that can do Word, can do the content, and someone that who
Hmm.
can do the design part of it, or at least give them the idea of what it needs to be. So we're all kind of like we are all separated into our little small little things that we do really really good,
Right.
and then everything else can be interned, virtual hiring a virtual assistant, maybe hiring a virtual executive assistant, or even then going into more of a partnership where you're able to kind of partner with someone to kind of like deliver what you need to deliver.
So when will you know if you once you got your task signed
Hmm.
out, and then when will you seek a executive? When you what would you know you're at that place in business? You kind
Hmm.
of like how do you know when we will need your solutions, like the
Hmm.
girlfriend
Hmm.
solutions,
Hmm.
those businesses? What level is that like for
Hmm.
most of? Some of us might be beginners, middle
Hmm.
level business people, or just getting. I guess I said that before I'm getting started, but
Well, you realize that in your business that well, there's a couple things. You realize in your business that you can't move any further.
okay, so that's what you were
Like, okay,
saying.
so you're looking at yourself and saying, okay, I can't go any further unless I get help. Number two, it's sad to say that you get exhausted, but you do. You start to look at your stuff and say, you know what, like I cannot do this all by myself. Like, I just
That's
can't.
true. That's true.
And there are some people out there that are really good at a lot of stuff, but you will find that there are some things that bring you energy and some
Hmm.
things that take away your energy. And so those are the things that you want to kind of like say, okay, if I could, in the best world, I should not be doing this. Like I need to pass this on to someone. You know what I'm saying? And I can't spend with a certain dollar amount. So like I may have like these things that I need to do that are kind of like just financially I need to stay in a financial place or whatever.
Hmm.
So you start to kind of like look at okay, so what can the intern do? They may be able to do research on my content, start looking at things to help me with my content. Okay, they may be able to then take that and then like if you have to spend money on a Girl Friday or on someone else that could be whatever, you want to spend as you don't want to spend all of you would rather take your information and move up slowly. So first I need an intern to do all that they can do for me in this area. Then I need someone else. So that okay, so what wouldn't it be better if you had $2,000 to spend as much on the lower rate and then bring in the true professional when you have to.
Yeah, that sounds like it would make sense and
So
putting a business.
I'm gonna do my lower rate first, let them do the research, let them do all that they can do before I then move into the other dollar amount. So if I can save myself 10 hours of stuff that the professional is going to do at a higher rate, but if I could then just have my assistant do it or whatever, and then use the professional for 5 hours, I've saved myself time and I've saved myself energy and I've saved myself money. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, you just sit down, really think it through, really come up with what you feel like is going to be like the task at hand, and then you divvy it up by by how, like by the skill set.
So, and my other question would
Mm-hmm.
be, when did you decide that this was something that you seen that people needed? How did this become
Mm-hmm.
your passion?
Mm-hmm. There's okay. So I used to work for a business coach, and that business coach um, was amazing in that he could, like, if you were, like, he could really, like, speak to you and tell you about about your passions and how to, and really pull out your potential and talk to you about your potential and how to move forward. But here's what I found was like maybe a deficit was that those people would leave rah rah, like, like, yeah, I'm ready to go and do it.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't have the experience. Not that they didn't have the experience. They were people that were like maybe in their business. They were like the sales. They were the salesperson.
Mm-hmm.
So you need salespeople need a rah rah speech. They need people
Mm-hmm.
to pump them up. They need to be able to go and go and go. But what happens when they leave? What happens when they decide, when they leave the rah rah speech and they have to now implement what
Oh,
they were just
oh my
taught?
goodness! Well, that's not a good feeling.
That's not a feeling.
It's,
Like, you're like, okay, he told me something, but how do I create it? How do I put those things
it
in
is
place?
bad when
It
you
is
have to
really
have.
bad. I mean, like, it's like you've been rah up, honey. Like, you are ready to go, and like you're looking at the wall. Like, how do I do it? Like, how am I going to create this thing right here? He just told me what to do, but I don't know what I'm doing.
Yes.
Okay, that is what happens to a lot of salespeople. A lot of salespeople are people that really are good at what they do. They go and they kill it. They go out and they kill it. But then they have to bring it back, and then they need someone that is going to be able to help them implement it. And that's not their best. Okay, so I'm working for this business coach who's rah-rahing everyone, rah, shishambah, like we were just rah-rahing them, and then they leave and don't know how to implement. And I realize that I do. I also realize that there are people out there, salespeople or anybody, business owner, whatever, that they have these great ideas, but don't know how to implement them, put them in practice, or whatever. And so that's where it came from. My business came from seeing people kind of like every month come to a meeting, get excited, and then come back the next month excited, and then come back the next month
I'm laughing because I've been
excited,
in that place. Another
bit like
place.
just excited, but they don't have the resources in place in order to implement it. And so it
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, I can do this. And I realized that's what they needed. That every business owner,
Mm-hmm.
as much as they want to say they can do it themselves,
Mm-hmm.
needs a person, a number two. They need a number two. And if you're taking all the time out of your life to create and to do and spend all this time away from your family, your friends, from your whatever, and you have nothing to show for it at the end. If you were to pass on, if you were unable to have this business, I wonder if the business owners, would they have changed their mind and not did all the things that they were going to do if they were going to end up at the end of it not having anything to show for it, nothing to leave a legacy to their families. It dies with you. Would you have done that?
No, that would, yeah. I see what you're
It
saying.
would,
'Cause, mm-hmm.
like, what hurts my heart and my soul is if I did all of this and whenever I left this world, it didn't still live beyond me.
Mm.
That's my passion. My passion is that if we are going to be working 80 hours a week, we have a full-time job, and then we have a part-time job. No, not a part-time job, a part-time business thing that we're trying to get off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And we spend all of that time doing that. And then we come out at the end and it doesn't, and nothing, and it doesn't survive us.
Mm-hmm. It's the service.
That right there, Robin, let me tell you something. And let me tell you if you want to just know what my passion is. Like that right there, the thought of someone spending that amount of time and effort into something and it doesn't live beyond you disturbs me. Like I want Robin David, like okay, so Zig Ziglar
Yes.
has passed away, but I still see his posts everywhere.
Yeah.
Like his family and his whoever, it lives on beyond him. Robin David, your quotes, the things that you talk about, the things that you're doing, should live beyond you. Your family should be like, and Robin said, because like I'm telling you on my Instagram, I see Zig Ziglar all the time. Yes. I see Jim Rohn all the time. Like, and I see people posting, but I see Zig Ziglar, they're posting stuff about him all the time.
Yes,
that's what you want.
Yeah, that's why I love quotes, because of those other
quotes
and comments
and all the other things that God has called you to.
Yeah,
He wants that to live on.
Sure. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. I believe that that's very important, that we learn to leave those things that contribute to our family later on, so they can remember us, but also know that we gave value while we were here. We wasn't just doing a service that didn't linger into their heritage, into going to their future. So I agree with you.
And your children's children.
Yeah.
Your children's children's children.
Children.
Okay.
Yes, I agree. Yes.
That's what we're talking about. We're talking about when you said wealth.
Yes, we are wealth builders.
And wealth builders. Yes.
Yeah, when you're a wealth builder, that's leaving that forever mark in your generation to come, families of
families. Like, how are we going to talk about grandma, whatever, or great grandmother Robin and what she did and how she contributed? There's money there for for you to be able to give to other people and stuff like that. That's what you want. You want you to have a foundation in your name, and people are always getting something and receiving something from you. That's what you want. You want to have a foundation and all those kind of things. And so that's what the passion is. That is what the CEO hustle is. It's like just bringing it down to the lowest level to how do we build this business so that it lives beyond you.
That is so incredible. And definitely, I think this is the time and we're living in, especially us as women. We are always birthing visions and purpose, and definitely have to create that everlasting impact in our lives and in others' lives as well. So it's exciting seeing women evolve and become and having services like yours to help us, because when I seen Girlfriend Solution, I was like, oh, this is a great company. I know for me, I am definitely like looking at my tasks differently tonight when I go home. And really now that you mention that gives me really like insight. Like each task I'm starting to see, like I said, I got someone to do the website, then I got a content developer, then I have to get somebody to do the photos. It's just like
sometimes you are piecing it together. You're piecing it together to see what you can do and what other people can do. But I promise you, it is worth the effort to the time that you do spend on your business. It is wonderful. But that lady with the apple pie struggled. Do you hear me? Like she was like, I need someone to help me. And when you get to that point, you need to then seek others, seek a coach, seek people that can help you, seek the professional, because the time that you're taking to do it, we have a client right now that has been trying to do her own thing, and the hours that she's spinning her wheels, she could have given us all of the project rather than piece of the project. So stop piecemealing everything. It is okay to piecemeal some things and pull things together outside of yourself. But when you start to get yourself in the way, get your stuff in the way, it kind of like starts to affect your business.
I love how you keep reminding us that we are the ones who tend to sabotage our own greatness.
Yes.
If we are not careful and not allow ourselves to ask for help when we need it
Mm-hmm.
and seek the help that we need. In
Yeah.
other words, is what I hear you saying. And also know that the help is available. One of my affirmations that I'm saying right now is I attract the right resources. I attract the right business partners because you have to start to believe as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
It's a renewance of your
Mm-hmm.
mind, especially if you've been doing it a long time by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason you think, oh, I can do everything at first because you're
Mm-hmm.
excited, you're
Yeah.
zilfo, and it's like I got my business
Mm-hmm.
going, and you definitely feel like where will I get this extra money to
Mm-hmm.
invest in myself, and where do you tell entrepreneurs that investing in themselves, when is that something they have to really shift their mindset to how to uh, start paying themselves
Mm-hmm.
or paying themselves to have help or what that looks like, having that mindset
That is not easy. Like I think that you go in and you're just like it's gotten to like I had to kind of like start to pay myself, but that's just not the easy road because you're thinking that you're going to continue to put money into your business. And then I think what has really gotten me was like I was listening to this pastor, and he was talking about how important it is for us to like save. But he was talking about how back in the time, and I think it was in Genesis when Joseph was had talked to Pharaoh about all of the issues that were going to happen, and that there was going to be 7 years of plenty, and that there was going to be 7 years of drought. There was going to be these 14 years of wonderful and then like barren land, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he was saying to him, he said his solution was for them to do 5% more savings, like their all their stuff, like their commerce and all that, to save 5% more than what they were already saving or whatever. And so by doing that, they had enough because they were saving and they were whatever. So there is something to be said about in your time of abundance, making sure that you save, knowing that there's going to be a rainy day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also like paying your tithes on the money that you receive as well, so that God can grow what you are getting and receiving or whatever. And then there is you paying yourself. And so by the time you take 10% out, this is what people are thinking. By the time I give God 10%, and by the time I do another 5%, and then I try to pay myself, there's nothing left or whatever. There's a struggle there. But God said, test me on it. That's scriptural.
I agree with you. That is a good way to say it. It does test the logic mind.
The logic, like, what am I doing?
It does, because I remember becoming consistent with that. And it's like, at first it's like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to make it. But I find that I've always found that once you are tighter, you're not ever going to be ending with nothing at the end. It's always more.
He said, test me on this thing right here.
I love that.
And you know what? And I'm saying, and I have tested him on the other side of it.
Oh, yeah.
Testing him is like either testing him to do it or testing him to not do it and see what happens. I tested him on the other side of I'm not going to do it.
That was
like I know I should do it. I know I should do it. But Lord, if you blessing everybody else and they're not doing it, then you're going to bless me and I'm not doing it, right? And I have felt the struggle and the pain of not paying tithes. Do you hear me? Like, I have tested him on it, and for sure that whenever I don't do it, it never works out. Like, he has some grace with me on it, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, like what? I mean, like where my finances going? Like, it's just like there is a bag that is a hole in my bag, and it just keeps coming out. It just keeps coming out. So I'm testing him on the other side. So I'm like, if I can test him on the wrong side of the law, so to speak, and not do it, how about if I test him on the right side and see what he does with that?
That is so true. I had to get to that place. It is a shifting of your mind.
Yes.
It does seem unnatural to do it that way because you're looking at like what you're naturally getting in your hand, and once you do plant it, that's the other thing I was thinking about. April is like a month of planting seeds, and so when you're planting seeds and you're business and start to pay your
Mm-hmm.
tithes and the seeds of what you receive in your
Mm-hmm.
business, then it also does help to increase your business
Increase.
and grow your business and keep your business
Yes.
thriving. I definitely have been on both sides as well. And
We all have.
I'm like,
Yes.
oh no, I definitely love giving my tithes. I am a tither. I believe in that. And I also believe in paying myself, because at first I was a tither that didn't pay myself. And that I had backwards as well too, because then that's what God was showing me, that you definitely want to practice the principles of paying yourself as well as paying your
Yes.
essential bills. And
Essential bills. And you want to also take it a step further and understand that, you know, in your time of plenty, that you'll know when you're in your time of plenty. You'll know when you're in your time of abundance. There are times when you're just making ends meet, but you also know when, like, things have changed. You've weathered that storm, and now you have entered your season of plenty. And when you realize that you're in that season of plenty, He is saying, save. He is saying, don't go and get you the whole new jalopy and the whole new this and the whole new that, and oh my gosh, I got to go and get this done. I got to get that done and get my nail. But no, all in, like, you just need to make sure that, like, you take 5% of that. Like, that's scriptural. That is what happened. Joseph was like, if you would do this, that in this 7 years of plenty, that you will then be able to be protected in this time of drought, because it's going to be 7 bad years. So that's there. And you know that when the 7 years of plenty come, that there's going to be something that comes behind it. So that's when you take it and you start to save. And he suggested to Pharaoh to take 5% of everything and to put that stuff away, to build your storehouse. You're building your storehouse of savings, because then they were all protected. And what was amazing was when they had enough and people came to them and and was able to buy things. So they were a blessing to other people, but then they also were able to be restored financially, so that by the time they got out of the 7 years, they were okay.
That's a good word right about now. Hearing that how things are going on in our country and the things that we're
Yeah.
facing, it was a good reminder, the importance of preparing in your
Preparing.
abundance. When you said the abundance, it just stayed with me, because we do in business, you will have that abundant time, right? And definitely you want to be very mindful that is so key, because definitely there will be a drought. And
there will be a drought. It's coming. You have to know that it's coming, and you have to go ahead and save for it, knowing that you are building, like, because you have saved and you put things aside. There are going to be people that are going to come to you and they're in dire straits, and you're going to be able to bless them, but you're going to also receive from them too. Like, they received, people came in and were basically buying from them, so that even in the drought, they were still multiplying. Do you know what I'm saying? There was multiplication happening in a drought.
Well, that's what I've been learning, that even though we have these things going on with the war and stuff going around, rumors of this and that, even in the times where we've had our famines and our current pandemic and all this, there was still abundance.
Yes.
Flowing, and
we grew.
The
pandemic, and we grew.
Yeah.
Quarantine, and we grew.
Right. Yeah. So that's why I was in quarantine. Then they had the 2008, people became millionaires, and that happened. We had that happen. So that is so true in the word when he says that, preparing season time and time for everything,
and just knowing the season that you're in. You're going to know when you're in the season of abundance. It's like, what is going to just come to you. It's going to keep coming. And when you know that you're in that place, preparing yourself even before you get there. Like, okay, what kind of mentality do you need to have in order to receive abundance? What do you need to have in your like near you? Who are the people that you need to have around you that can talk to you and give you great advice on what to do with your money? Like, you can start now as a business owner, starting to do that, starting to kind of get yourself together and understanding okay, so early this year, our word for my business is like we were talking about, like, we're just believing God for unprecedented favor, unprecedented financial abundance. We are unprecedented is our word for this year.
I love it.
And after we proclaimed that and we had scripture to it and all that kind of stuff, the first thing that God was telling me was like, are you ready for that? Like, are you ready for what you're praying for, what you have asked for, what you have spoken? If like 10 or 20 projects came along, could you handle that? Could your team handle it? Would you be able to, like, what do you need to have in place in order to be ready for what you're talking about? We had a dollar amount. How are you going to logically do that? How would you be able to put that together if you got what you prayed for?
That's good. That's
Are
really
you
good.
ready for it?
I love it.
So this is the moment. This is the time, and I'm going to say this to all business owners. This is the time that you should be preparing. You've been praying. You've been seeking God. You've been trusting God. You've been asking God for it. And He is saying to you what He said to me is to get yourself ready for it. Get yourself ready for the overflow, ready for that. Like, you don't want to lose not one morsel, do you?
No, I love it. Now, listeners, I'm telling you, viewers, I can feel this right now. I'm
Yes.
feeling this because that is a great way to talk to the listeners and viewers who are ready in business and been saying you want to be this six-figure income leader. You want to have a business that's global. Or it is so true. The Father will ask you, are you ready? Because when you ask, you do receive, but are you ready? And I think sometimes, a lot of times, we're not as ready. Because I know myself with growing and expanding, sometimes I answer and I said, and he's like, but you asked for this, and I'm like, oh my God, but I don't know, and like, you're not ready. You're not ready. And so it's really important because last week I was talking to one of my other business partners, and I told him I got 3 words. And my word for this year, I asked God for a word every year too. And He gave me, I love your word that you said, unprecedented, overflow, and increase in favor. But I had heard overnight. I was like, Father, overnight.
I received that. I received that
today. Literally every year I ask Him for a word that I just hold on to all through the year, right? And overnight it comes in different ways, and I had to look it up, and I was like, "What you, Father?"
That's suddenly, thing.
And so my prayer partner, who's listening here on WOL, and did you hear that? Suddenly, that's one of my listeners. She watches and listens to us all the time, and that's what she texted me this year. After God gave me overnight, she said, "Expect suddenly,
all over the place." Yes,
and that takes. He also spoke to me a week ago about what you're saying aligns with the message to the business builders here that's listening, that overnight, unprecedented, but you have to have the 3 P's. I heard a wealth builder talk about that. It was like preparation, planning. The 3 P's is and practice. Practice, planning, and preparation. And I was like, Lord, practice, planning, and preparation, and perseverance, right? So perseverance goes in there somewhere, but it was 3 P's. And I was like, that is so true, because I was in the speaking presentation a couple weeks ago, and one of my listeners here was like, you're planning and presentation. So, planning for stuff and preparing puts you in a place of overnight, sudden, unprecedented favor, things and doors opening. And I was like, God, this is truly, you are the God who hears and answers. But a lot of times we're not always prepared or ready. I love how you said to our listeners, are you ready to be that CEO? Are you ready to expand yourself outside the community?
If the customers came, could you handle it? Like, one time there was this thing on Oprah, and Oprah is always talking about the things that she liked or whatever. So there was this company, and I don't know what they did before, but she mentioned them. And as she's mentioning them, their website crashes because they were not ready for the amount of people that went to their website. They were not ready for it. So how many people, how much business did they really lose? How many people went onto the website? Because you know how we are. We're so fickle. We'll go on a website and we can't get on or whatever, and we don't even go back to it. How many people did they lose because of it? How many did they win? Awesome. But how many did they lose because they were not prepared? They didn't have the bandwidth to handle the amount of people that came onto their website.
Yeah, wow, that's true. That is so true.
So it's like get ready, and not only get ready, let's be ready, and let's do the things that we need to do in order to move our businesses to a place where we can receive it, and that this is the time to do it. I literally what you just said is what I've been hearing, what I've been praying about, what I've been trusting God for, and I just believe it, and I believe that it's happening now. And so we have to kind of like, as business owners, be ready for that wealth. Wealth is going to come to us in a multitude of different ways, and we have to be ready for that wealth when it comes, and to not take it, not you have to do it and receive it and be able to do something with it because it's not for you.
Right.
Okay,
That's true. That's
it's
true.
not for you to go and get you a big house and a fancy car and you just go and sit up in your house and do whatever. That is, I mean, wealth transfer is happening now at this very moment. It is happening.
I was just talking about this last night. It's so interesting you said that to me. It is happening right in this
It's
moment.
happening right now. There's only so much door of opportunity for that, but it's happening right now.
I agree. I think it is. So we were just saying that, like we were just saying that last night that it's the timing for things. Certain things are
Mm-hmm.
timing now. And I was sharing with another young business person I was talking to last night. We were talking about like new ways to create money, the
Mm-hmm.
the uh, the, the digital money, the new
Mm-hmm.
area money. And what I said to myself, I told them last night. Only thing that is consistent is change, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just being open to. I asked God that I be more adaptable, right? Because you want to
Mm-hmm.
not get comfortable. You
Mm-hmm.
want to be adaptable to change because
Mm-hmm.
it's the only thing that's consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Everything and being uncomfortable and learning that wealth is going to come in different ways, and it can come through working with
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend
Mm-hmm.
solutions, so
Mm-hmm.
a company
Mm-hmm.
like yourself, or it could come through working with getting your tasks in order.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember working with another successful business person. It's just like is your capacity ready for that?
Mm-hmm.
That's a mental. What are you going to do with it? How you going to handle it to serve
Mm-hmm.
other people? Because it's not given to you to just for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually, like you said, to
Mm-hmm.
service other people
Mm-hmm.
in your community, in the
Mm-hmm.
world. There are other needs for the money
Yeah.
for you to utilize the money to service other people. Because that's what I believe that we are assigned to our businesses for in the marketplace is to be that persons or people who help other people
Mm-hmm.
with their problems, right?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Solution to their problems. But that is exciting to
Mm-hmm.
hear about the word that you have for you and your team because I know that's exactly what God is doing in this season. Like He's doing some suddenlies, and we have to be
Mm-hmm.
ready,
Yes.
and just be like you said, be prepared at all times to receive that
Mm-hmm.
because that if you're not, it's just lip surface.
It really is.
Hmm.
It really is. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
That's good stuff. So, do anyone out there have any questions tonight? I am here happily. If we have any questions, you can call in or you can also text in if you have any questions. Takisha, do you want to tell them how they can also reach you? We can
Mm.
put that in here if you want to put it on the
Yeah.
screen. You want to type
Mm-hmm.
it in there? I
Okay.
meant to put your website on there. You want
Okay.
to type it in there. I thought I
Okay. So I'm
had.
gonna move some stuff around to do
Yeah,
that.
so we can type your website in so that way the viewers can always come
Mm-hmm.
onto your website and look at
Okay.
those upcoming things. She has a lot of great things going on. But yes, you definitely want to be ready, prepared, having a word with God and sitting with God about your business, sitting down. Like I love what you said. Looking at, I'm gonna review my task again too because I'm just realizing that it's such a relief to have support or someone is helping you with those different things. Because if not, they're just stuck in your head and you get frustrated. I believe a lot of us have a lot of great gifts inside of us, and we just
Mm-hmm.
need the support to know that someone's there to help you get your ideas out into the world. And let's put her website up there so you guys can gladly go to GirlFridayBusinessSolutions.com,
Mm-hmm.
or you can visit her on Takisha
Bromell. Uh-huh.
Bromell.com.
Yeah.
There she is, and she is a part of our WBO family. We're
Yes, I'm
super
super excited
excited
about that.
yeah, we're excited to have you here. And she came all the way down from the greater Murfreesboro,
Murfreesboro.
the suburbs of Nashville. We
Yes.
love Murfreesboro. I was there a week ago or so hanging out. And Murfreesboro has grown so
Now,
much.
when did you move from Murfreesboro?
2 years ago, it
Oh
went
my
too
gosh, girl, come
fast.
on back over here.
It went fast. I said, come on back over
Come on back over. Oh, that's so hilarious.
It is funny. It's funny because I was just talking to some young people about it last night. They stopped by my house, and I'm near downtown, but it was because I have been commuting 2 years, and
I
that
get it.
commute
Yeah,
was
yeah, that
it was three
commute
and a
can be
half
crazy.
years.
Hmm.
I was already
So,
crazy
do you
enough.
like the area that you're in?
Yeah, it's close to work, and at the time, coming down for 2.5 years on 24 is
Oh my gosh,
can be
yes.
difficult. And
Mm-hmm.
so that was an answered prayer for me to get closer to work.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was a little a big leap of faith because moving into Nashville and not really. It was a month after I moved here. We had our tornado and we had
Mm-hmm.
our pandemic started, so we got laid off. And so then it was like, okay, I'm here in Nashville. Just stay on here in Nashville. It's different because being single now
Mm-hmm.
downtown Nashville is like close for me to go out and walk around and
Yes,
see
do have a life.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I
it's
will
a
say
little
that.
different.
I would say that that's the thing that I could do. I could move for. Like is like and I've thought about that over the years. Like you know what, with me being single as well. Like wouldn't it be better for me to be closer into town? Like you know somewhere.
Well, I don't like to say that to be like it's just different when I was a stay-at-home mom and wife.
Mm-hmm.
Murfreesboro was the suburban area. I went for the
Yeah.
school zones. It's a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful place. Their grandkids live there. My daughter lives there. Great friends there. My church is there.
Mm-hmm.
Destiny Center is there. So I do come to Murfreesboro frequently for church and my family
Yeah.
there. But then I thought, no, I like the newness of starting up. It's living here in Nashville, getting to know it. I'm just getting out this year, so I was just driving around a little bit this year. Last year I didn't drive around much,
Mm-hmm.
but this
You're
year,
getting out there a little bit. It's
yeah.
okay. Test the waters just a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that at
You
all.
have to come down
I'm
sometime
gonna do
and
it.
hang
I'm
out
gonna
with me. Now, what
absolutely.
side of Murfreesboro like are you? Are you
I am on the outside,
Riverdale?
so I that's why I really need to move. Like I'm outside of the city limits or whatever, so I can
Okay,
get on 840 and take myself
okay.
around
So
or
you're in a real
whatever.
good quiet. It's
Quiet,
really
and it's too
quiet.
quiet. Okay, you know
Well,
what? I'm single a little bit here, so I need to get myself together, Robin.
we
Okay, and get
come
into
on
the
down.
town a little bit.
Yeah, come
Okay.
on into the town. I'll come out to the her country setting, and I just need to get a
Yes.
little more quiet because
Right.
sometimes it is a little rowdy and loud. But I mean, I love both of those. I call myself a city country girl because I like a little noise, I like a little rock and roll, and then I like a little quiet too. So it's just so that's what brings me here in
Mm-hmm.
Nashville is work.
Okay.
So work brings me here, and then so that's how I've been here the last couple of years. And
Yeah, it's time for you to get out and about. It's time for me to come out here and
yes,
you
and hang
we
out with
figure
me.
it out together.
Yeah. I would love to have you come down
Yes.
sometime. It
Mm-hmm.
would be fun to have you come and hang out. We'll do that together, learn Nashville
Yeah.
together. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so we are so happy to have you, and we learned
Thank
a lot
you.
tonight. Businesses, if you hadn't had the opportunity to go to her website and check her out on all her platforms, she also has a podcast. Tell us a little bit more about your podcast.
Yeah, podcast is Takisha Bromell podcast. And it's on all the different places that you would go to find your podcast because I don't even know where you would find it. But we just so what I've been doing is writing like ebooks.
Oh,
And as I write
wow.
ebooks
That sounds
every
fun.
month, then I actually release those ebooks and I then do my podcast on these ebooks. So my last one for last month
You are
was
amazing.
a girl. Okay, was the power of now. And we just talked about like the importance of moving forward in your life and everything. And then this month is going to be the disruptor. I'm the business disruptor.
Yes, she is.
So next month you can go and actually the new podcast is up today,
Oh, cool.
and next week the ebook will be up that goes along with that, so that you can kind of like follow along with that, and so that when next month when I come on, we'll talk a little bit about that, and then my next podcast and everything. But yes, so this one is called the disruptor, and I'm talking about the SWOT analysis. How do you look at your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats as ways to do an analysis on your business and help you kind of like see what your issues are and start putting things in place to kind of like help your business grow.
Wow, that listen there. This she is the expert. Y'all better, and I'm gonna be following her on her podcast as
Yes.
well. The power now. I love the power now.
Hmm.
Tell us just a little bit about that. We're gonna wrap it up. Just what's
Yeah.
the power now about? I
The
love that.
power of now is basically talking about like how God told me, like one day I was pouting and upset because I found these like my journals and nothing, and some of these things I had been praying about for years, and I was like pouting to God like what's the deal here, like why are these things not happening? He said, well, I created you to create these things, so get busy, like, you know what I'm saying, like you're looking at me side eye, I'm looking at you side
I
eye.
love it.
Like, you know what I'm saying, like get yourself together. And then the last thing was in this had read this book, and this book was and how much more time we have?
We have about 5 minutes.
Okay, so there was this book, and it's called The Traveler's Gift, and this man is in this big room, and it's full of all these papers, and so he's like looking at the papers, and he's like, "What is this?" And he's in the room with the angel. The angel is not telling him what's going on, so he's like, he keeps looking, and he's seeing these cures for diseases and all this stuff, all these papers and whatever. So finally, he comes across this picture, and the picture is of this little girl, and the little girl looks like him um and his wife. And so he's like, "Who is this?" And so finally, the angel says, "This is the room of the less courageous. These are the people who had stopped before they were supposed to stop, and all these things that were in the room was a part of that." So he was like, "What about this picture?" And he said, "You and your wife had talked about having another child, but you never put it into action." So he's like looking at this picture. He's like, "Can I take this picture with me?" And the angel says, "No, it can't be. Like you're out of the time of the opportunity."
Wow.
I cried and
Wow.
cried and cried and cried because I was so sad that I missed some things.
Wow. That is what that
And
is.
from that book came me saying that we can't wait. It is time for us to move. And God is saying at this time, in this hour, right now, that we can't. So it was funny that I wrote that book, that ebook, 15 or so years ago. And whenever we started to kind of like say what we wanted to talk about, that was the first one that came to mind. That was the first one I pulled out. That was the first one we worked on. And God was like, it is now. It's
Wow.
the power today. It's urgency. He is, like we said, we talked about how he is now releasing. He's releasing in the atmosphere.
Hmm.
And now it's time for us to go.
Wow, that oh, I got a chill over here. Like, Lord, thank you for allowing her to share that with us
Mhm.
tonight. I am just like,
Yeah.
wow, you are an incredible gift to the world,
Thank
and
you.
I
As
have a
you.
chill on
Yes.
me right now because that is so true.
Hmm.
Like, if y'all could feel what I feel in the room right now, is the power of now. She just
Yes.
told us. So, if you heard anything tonight that you need support with and your business, the CEO Hustle is just told you. the
Go for
word
it.
go for it now. So thank you, everyone. We appreciate you all for here. We'll look so forward to her coming back
Yeah.
next month so she can teach us how to grow and be the CEO herself.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
It was wonderful.
One down, two more to go. We'll see what goes from there. Yes.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Come back next month. You guys should be back. Love you guys. Have a great evening.
Bye.
Smart Bears. See, Smart Bears has special
Thank
deals
you.
for
That
kids.
was amazing. Oh my God. The power of now.
That's where that book went. And you have to go and get it now because
I
it's on
do.
the Facebook page for free.